professors, doctors that are present, cooperating partners, colleagues from the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to the Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery Foundation Fellows Convocation ceremony being held today, Thursday, the 21st of November, the year 2019. I'm your Director of Ceremonies. Like I've always indicated, when I'm emceeing an event by the Minister of Health, that I also qualify to be called the doctor. Because I think I've done a lot of events for the Minister of Health. And again, by extension, I have a daughter who is at Levi Manawasa Medical University. She's doing her first year there. So at least I know in my family there will be two doctors, myself by association and my daughter would have sat in the class. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting your time, it is not my show, I'm merely here to facilitate. Allow me at this point to invite the Air Power Band with one piece of entertainment.
milekela wa Air Power Band. Abakashana banakemi sana ganas. Swimming! Attention! Shoot! Sit! Pass! Zimmerman! 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 Zimmerman!
To give us the welcoming remarks. Let's give him the big hand.
This is a very important occasion in our calendar as we are laying a foundation stone on which all our current and future training programs will be anchored. Today, we are conferring 245 Foundation Fellowships to specialists in 21 different fields of medicine. The future and the aspirations of this college lie with you, designate Foundation Fellows. Allow me to talk about how ZACOMS was formed. Specialist training in Zambia has been through the universities since the 80s. The number of postgraduates being produced by this traditional way of training has never been sufficient to meet demands of our growing population. The few specialists produced are concentrated in urban centers, leaving the rural population with no specialized medical cover. It's quite clear that if we continue with this current specialist training model, this shortage will persist and worsen as our population grows. It is for this reason that ZACOMS was formed, to change this scenario. On 25th October 2017, a memorandum of understanding was signed by the Ministry of Health, Zambia Medical Association, and Health Professions Council of Zambia, establishing the Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery, ZACOMS for short. ZACOMS is made up of specialists from different fields of medicine through their professional bodies like ZACOF, PAS. PAS is not Press Association of Zambia, members of the press, is Pediatrics Association of Zambia, Surgical Society of Zambia, and others. There are also representatives from the Ministry of Health, universities, both public and private, and the Zambia Medical Associations. ZACOMS trains specialists in Zambia using a model which has been tried and has worked both internationally and locally, like the West African College of Surgeons in West Africa, the College of Surgeons of Southern, East, and Central Africa, which is also training in Zambia, and the Royal Colleges in England and Ireland. COSEXA has trained over 30 surgeons in Zambia since its inception in 2000. The advantage of this training model is that service delivery is not affected, as the trainees train in their locality while providing service, as opposed to the traditional model where trainees have to relocate to an institution, affecting service delivery. A specialist trained locally is more likely to remain in the same locality and continue providing specialist service after his training. Service delivery has also improved, as the training hospital have to meet the set minimum standards to be accredited as such by the Health Professions Council of Zambia. Trainers also take periodic scheduled visits to training sites to teach, as well as provide specialist care. ZACOMS has recorded some achievements since its inception. 1, academic staff recruitment. So we have recruited a lot of academic staff. Registrar will go into details with the numbers. Student recruitment. We have currently 271 students training in 16 fields. These are doctors who are undergoing specialist training. This makes ZACOMS the largest postgraduate training institution in Zambia. And we are only in our second year of operation, so the numbers will continue increasing. So we are training specialists in 16 fields as follows: medicine, orthopedics, pediatrics, general surgery, obstetrics and gynae, urology, neurosurgery, ophthalmology, radiology, oncology, neurology, pediatric surgery, infectious diseases, pathology, and psychiatry. You can notice from this list that some of the fields where we are training are being offered for the first time in Zambia. For example, it's the first time we are training neurosurgeons in Zambia. It's the first time we are training oncologists in Zambia. It's the first time we are training radiologists in Zambia. Secretariat. We have a secretariat located at Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, headed by our able registrar, Dr. Jonathan Study. The ministry has been very helpful. We just had our offices fully furnished, and staff have been seconded, and also we are going to get transport to help with the operations of the college. The college has some international cooperating partners. Earlier this year, ZACOMS signed an MOU with COSEXA, College of Surgeons of East, Central, and Southern Africa. This MOU involves partnering in examinations and also in training our students. So our students will be able to rotate in other COSEXA training institutions, and COSEXA also can send their students here. COSEXA will be sending external examiners during our examinations, and we also can send external examiners to COSEXA. We've recently collaborated with the Royal College of Physicians in Ireland, who gave us technical support not so long ago. I think about a couple of months ago, they came through and trained our trainers in modern aspect of medical education. During that training, we were also supported by WHO. Some of our faculties, like radiology, they have collaborated with the Rochester University from America, I think it's New York, where every radiology student during their training will spend 6 months in New York to learn the modern trends in radiology. Neurosurgery also are collaborating with Cambridge University. Is it Cambridge? Yes. They are collaborating with Cambridge University. Cambridge University have been sending faculty in neurosurgery to come and teach our students, and our students also will have an opportunity to spend some time in Cambridge. So we encourage the different faculties within ZACOMS to establish local and international linkages, like the example I've given about the 2 faculties. However, ZACOMS has challenges as well. Our major challenge is funding. Currently, the only potential source of funding since inception has been registration fees for our students, which are 500 for students, 500 kwacha per student. However, late last year, we received some funding from the Ministry of Health, which has really helped in running college activities. Also to note is that our trainers don't get any remuneration. So we are appealing to the ministry and potential partners to help us in this aspect. so that we can achieve our full potential. Minister, sir, we have a proposal to make to help ZACOMS run smoothly. We propose that each training site should have a head of training. This could be equivalent to head clinical care. So if you have an institution, you have the medical superintendent, then you have on one side head of training, and on the other side head clinical care. This will help the college run smoothly, as in each training site there will be someone who specifically will be concerned with the training. What is the future for ZACOMS? The future for ZACOMS looks bright. I know there have been talk about the quality of graduates we will be producing, but let me assure you that they will be of the highest standard because of the stringent and rigorous standards we have put in. The task before us is huge. So for us to succeed, we need support from the government and any institutional organization willing to work with us. This support need not be financial. It may be technical, as in the recent support we received from the Royal College of Physicians in Ireland. Our relationship with other learning institutions are excellent. Both public and private universities are represented on the ZACOMS Council. The universities should continue producing specialists through their LMed programs, while ZACOMS will be producing fellows through the specialty training program. At the end of the day, it's the Zambian people who will benefit. Thank you.
I'd like to invite the Registrar of ZACOMS, Dr. Jonathan Study, to give us an overview of ZACOMS. Let's give him a big hand.
I've entitled this short presentation, ZACOMS, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, just to signify that very essence. The one shortage that has continued to bedevil us has been that of specialists, and that is the one reason why ZACOMS was created. I must say here that perhaps the one ingredient that has been missing all along has been the political will. We are privileged that we are living in a time when we are under a visionary leadership, have seen there's a gap that this country needs to close, and we have seen a way in which this gap is going to be closed. As I proceed with this presentation, you will see really where that gap exists and how ZACOM has come on board to form a solution. The one thing that should become clear is that ZACOMS has not come to replace existing postgraduate training programs. To the contrary, ZACOMS has actually come to bridge gaps, to bridge bridges across these existing training programs, to strengthen postgraduate training and the provision of specialist care right throughout the country. ZACOMS was registered in 2017, and I'm sure you are aware at that point we were called ZACOMS with colleges. Council took a view that I think this was not really reflective of what ZACOMS represents, and hence we've since changed from colleges to a college of medicine. I just thought I'd make that clarification because I've had a few ask me whether it's colleges or indeed it's a college. Our offices are at the beautiful Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. Those who have not yet been there, please do find time to visit the university. We have space, as is shown on that slide, enough to run our secretariat. ZACOMS is designed on this academic structure, where it's headed at the top by a Senate, chaired by the President. We have underneath that an executive committee and various directors forming a council. Each one of those go on to have heads of training and coordinators of training at various training sites throughout the country. In total, we have 16 directors, 40 heads of training, we have 40 coordinators, and we have associated, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 188 trainers across 21 training sites located in 9 provinces of the country. The one province we are still to get into is Muchinga, but I can assure you, Honorable Minister, sir, that we are making effort to make sure that no one is left behind, and the programs of ZACOMS will even go on to touch the province of Muchinga. We have, in our current first year, 135 students coming to the end of the year. Exams are just around the corner in the beginning of December. In total, we have 271 students. This is a huge task. To bring quality training to 271 students located in 9 provinces is not an easy task. You must be alive to the fact that we, as ZACOMS, have required, therefore, to be very innovative in the way we are going to conduct our business, in the way we are going to train these specialists to a level that is appropriate for a specialist training. And what I've done, some of the things, is this. We, at the inception of our program in 2018, underwent a training where Professor Banda's medical education unit did introduce 60 of our trainers to various aspects of teaching methodology. It was a one-day course, but at least it opened up our minds to knowing that we can go on to deliver specialist training outside the classroom. We can offer specialist training in the context that ZACOM was trying to pursue. That's not all. 2 months ago, the partners, the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland, came on board, and they did conduct a 1-week training. Several groups were trained during this program. In total, we had 76 of our trainers across the country, different programs, trained through how to deliver competence-based training. Out of these 76, 10 were even trained to go on and do the trainer-of-trainer component of the course. What we are envisaging as ZACOMS is that from now on, we'll conduct yearly training of our trainers using this core group of trainers that we have now equipped. The Royal College of Physicians of Ireland are still on board. They are one of the partners, as we'll see shortly, that have come on board so heavily to support our programs. And through that particular link, we are making sure that even the people who are delivering this training are doing so at the appropriate pitch. We've had to do a bit more. 2 things. Mentorship. The other thing that we are doing is that we are using the concept of moving our students around from one area to the other. As you can be aware, the concept of specialist training works on the basic principle that in every environment you are practicing as a specialist, you have the basic requirement for you to go on and educate or equip another to become like you, to become a specialist. But to be a specialist is more than just basic requirements. You need to go into the nitty-gritty of the subject. And this requires, therefore, that our students are moved from one environment to the other, exposing them to the specialist skills that may be lacking in one facility or the other, so that at the end of the day, what we are getting is a specialist that is well-rounded. Remember, the one reason that led to the creation of ZACOMS is that we have few specialists in this country. So in the model of our training, we ensure that these few specialists are going to centers where there's very little or no specialists at all, and are offering specialist level of care. The slides that you're looking at, one of our consultants who's gone on a trip of mentorship is showing a procedure to students, taking a clinic or ward round. And you know what has happened? In those environments where word has gone round that our specialists or our trainers are on board, people have booked patients beforehand. What you're seeing there are people who have heard that one of our consultants is on board, and they have traveled so many kilometers to have access to this specialist. Our training, like I've tried to emphasize all evening, is that we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we are also offering a service to the training sites, to the people in those vicinity of the training sites we're using. That's another of our surgeons, Dr. Mulenga, just showing one or two things, orthopedic surgeons. We're trying to roll out this concept of moving our students from one environment to the other. You will be alive to the fact that there are places in this country where there's only one specialist serving a community. But that's an environment that can build another to become like the specialist who's serving. And so what we are doing in this coming year is that we're identifying rotation sites for our trainees. And we have engaged managements of these various facilities to come on board and help us with accommodation. What you're looking at there is what St. Francis Hospital has offered for the use of our specialists. I must be quick to also point out here that the UTH management has also come on board, and they have actually offered us not one, but 2 housing units with 6 bed spaces. So we know that, and what you're seeing from UTH St. Francis has been replicated all over the country. We've made several phone calls to people. Others are even wondering why you are not coming to our hospital. All right? This is what has happened. In the places where we have our specialist training, a consultant phoned me once to tell me for the 4 years that they are working in that place, for the first time they were able to sleep at night. Now, if that doesn't really steer you to what ZACOMS is doing, I'm not sure I know what will. We've had requests from, obviously, colleagues that have seen how STP and our programs have worked in other institutions, calling to want to start a program in their facility. But perhaps the most telling of these calls I got was from a member of parliament who called me and wanted to find out why STP had not started in their area. They're really not happy with ZACOMS. And why? Because they have heard the testimonies that have gone across. They have seen that in the hospitals where our students are engaged, you see, because we have increased the number of specialists taking care, you've shared that workload, the data is there to show the successes that we have scored. In terms of, here we're looking at decreased referrals, decreased incidences to do with mortalities even in some of these facilities that we've worked. We've had to be innovative as well in realizing that we cannot work in a vacuum, an island. No. We need, if we are to build that specialist we desire, we need to cross our borders, to build those bridges in various strategic institutions that will come and improve on what we are offering. Key to this has been regional fellowships, MOUs that have been signed, that we are working on signing, and the President has alluded to the MOU with COSEXA and the other EXA fellowships, various fellowships overseas. And the whole idea here is that at the end of the day, we want specialists who have all these other linkages to come on board. Our local universities have also not been left out. Like I said earlier, ZACOMS has not come in place to take over what the universities were doing. We really appreciate the work they're doing, and what we want to do is to partner with these universities, ensure that we are equipping the specialists in this country at the appropriate level for our population. As part of organizations of ZACOMS, we have, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a students' association drawn from various sites across our programs. And the basic idea here is to help mobilize our students, but also to help us form linkages with other students, postgraduate students in other environments. You will be happy to note that we are planning to have the first ever postgraduate student conference this country will have next year. And all the other universities with postgraduate training will be invited to participate. Because our model is we want everyone to move at the same pace. Our programs have not been without their challenges. We are operating, I must say, in some of the harsh environments, academically speaking. The mentorship programs that I've alluded to require that our consultants will grow one route, for example, go to Mansa, Kasama, connect to the Copper Belt, come back to Central Province and head back to Lusaka. Take another leg of the trip, maybe to go east or to head south to Livingstone. But each one of those trips, these consultants, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, have done so on their own resources, their vehicles. We have had challenges in moving these consultants. And unfortunately, we have had incidences where somebody has been involved in a mishap using their personal vehicle. We were talking about environments which have not previously been used for training, so are not really equipped for postgraduate training. That's one of our training sites where they don't even have an LCD projector. But people have decided, they have purposed that they won't let these limitations weigh them down. Look at what is happening there. An entire presentation being offered through a laptop. At the end of the day, students are students and we have to examine them. We are on the verge of end-of-year exams for this year, and this will be the second exam for our STP program. Previously, and the same this year, I suppose, is that we are using two sites, one in the Copper Belt in Ndola and the other in Lusaka. So students from across the country will congregate in one or the other of these two places. In 2018, we had 164 candidates sit for exams, various courses. Out of this, 146 passed, representing an 89% pass rate. Of course, we want to push that pass rate up, but the reality is that there's still some areas where we have challenges. And for us who are running these programs, those are the challenges which we want to look at. How do we close the gap where this training is existing? How do we get our students to reach that 100% mark? I said I was giving an overview of what ZACOMS is. I've belabored the point on our specialist training program. Allow me to conclude in 2 slides by saying ZACOMS does not just end with the specialist training program. Yes, that is our flagship program, but we are also interested in taking care of the specialists. Indeed, even taking care of the general doctor to equip them to a level where they're going to offer some service that is more or less commensurate to what we'll be getting in the specialist. In this regard, Honorable Minister, sir, what you will see in the coming year are introduction of short courses or modules, specific areas of our practice to be targeted. I've thought about it. We have a CT scan almost everywhere in the country now. But all those scans have to come to Lusaka for Dr. Sunkutu's team to read. You'd think like we can equip our doctors out there with enough skill to be able at least to read that CT scan or MRI scan. What we're trying to design, Honorable Minister, sir, are short courses that will equip not only our students, but the profession at large. We know that with this program, we will have 10 different places already covered in terms of neonatology care. And if we can push up even the numbers to even more, in no time, the whole country will have adequate people to look after our neonates. ECG, echo. I was going to ask for a show of hands how many can offer that service or read those. But today is not that day we're asking people questions. But this is a competence, a skill that would like all our trainees to have. People in every area, doctors, should be able to have this skill. So you'll find us introduce a course where people, our trainees, of course for our trainees it will be mandatory, that you take this course, you actually pass it. To be examinable, by the way, you actually pass it. But if you're already practicing and want to brush up your skills, you'll be welcome to come on board. So that we are offering this service to people who are outside the program, but who know the value of such a skill. Orthopedic radiology. You have somebody who's been involved in a road crash. A CT scan is on site. You don't have anyone to read it. We have ultrasound machines. The whole country, every hospital has. But it always baffles me to see how a patient will have to travel from far-flung areas to come to Lusaka for you to say that there is a pneumothorax or there's a hemoperitoneum here. These are competencies that we can give to our doctors, the whole country, and ensure that we are getting the most out of this human resource that we have. I worked in a rural area for 3.5 years. In that time, did a couple of postmortems, having to do them, trying to remember what Dr. Gag had taught us. But we are saying as ZACOMS, I think there's a better way in which we can do it. Let's come up with a small course that will teach people what they need to know about conducting a postmortem, even if they are not pathologists. So you see, you identify a skill that you think is going to be beneficial to the people and have people come for that training. These are some of the courses, Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that you will see introduced in the next year. And here may I also welcome you, designated Foundation Fellows, to please come forth. I know there are many more courses that we can design in such a manner. The whole idea is that we do not want you to be the only one with a particular skill. Whatever skill that you have, whatever competence that you have, let's sit down and see how we can replicate it. We don't need to create specialists for everything, no. Some of the things we can deliver are by just simply equipping the doctors that we have already. And by so doing, we improve the quality of care that our countrymen and women are accessing. This is my last slide, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The challenges. I think we in ZACOMS have taken the posture that, yes, there are challenges that we are facing, but we have a task at hand that is so big that we will not allow these challenges to weigh us down. We will work within the means that we have, but we will aspire to even higher heights, as has been articulated already. Issues to do with lack of staff. In that beautiful secretariat that you have seen, we still have engaged the Ministry of Health to second staff to the ZACOMS secretariat so that we can run that secretariat even in a more efficient manner than it's already running. I think we've been very fortunate, Honorable Minister, sir, to have a lot of our trainers buy into this program for ZACOMS. These distinguished ladies and gentlemen that you see here, sir, have offered this service at no extra remuneration. And here we're talking about people who, the training is part and parcel of you being a consultant, that we understand. But think about the assessments that go into training somebody. You sitting down to to design an exam question. You taking time to design what you are going to teach that coming week. If you really are going to think about it, that is extra work that these dear colleagues of ours have pushed in. We've highlighted the challenges with teaching aids in several places, especially the new sites. I must say that we've already received for next year 4 different applications, 4 different sites are requesting to commence STP. 2 of the sites are actually private-run facilities on the Copper Belt that have said that they don't want to be left out of this program. We hope that early in the coming year, we'll be able to announce them as part of our training sites. Students, however, we have a huge challenge with students. The Students' Association representatives are in our midst, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I must say that they too, the 271 that we have, could actually have been a bit more, a lot more, should I say, if not for one major problem that we have, redistribution of these trainees. We understand there's a critical shortage in our health sector and the need to have every hospital and facility and so forth correctly represented in terms of human resource. And unfortunately, that has meant that some of my students have had to be recalled. We've engaged, I must say here, successfully, Dr. Makupe, Dr. Makawa's team, and in a lot of cases we have had this reversed, but this still continues to be one of the main challenges our students are facing. A lot of these students do not even have their study leaves approved. We are looking at next year, our 3rd year of our STP, and a program of sending these our colleagues around different sites. And that, as ZACOMS, unfortunately, yes, we will come in and support with accommodation, but that's the support that we can offer. There are other resources that we still need to get this training that much more supported, encouraged to pursue this training to the level that we want them to. As I promised, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that is my last slide. Thank you very much.
Without much ado, allow me now to call upon the Permanent Secretary, the Minister of Health in charge of administration, Ms. Kakuruvelwa Mulalelo, who will in turn invite our guest of honor. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have but one task today, and that is to invite our guest of honor to come and deliver his keynote speech. So right now, I invite our Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, to come forward. Thank you.
Walking into this auditorium, I found difficulties to reach my seat because I saw gurus of the trade, and I realized if I bypassed them, they might rethink their decisions to pass me when I was in medical school. I saw gurus of the trade, and today it is very good to see Professor John Jellis, a professor who is associated with we recognize your efforts, your passion for health worker training in Zambia and for service delivery. I see Professor Wadimba, Professor I see Professor Njelesani, Professor Shilaluke Ngoma, Professor Yakub Mula, Professor Taxon Lambert. Professor Vualika. The only professor who has ever called me a moron in my life, Professor Peter Mwava. I see Professor Chipeta, Professor Mpavalwani, Professor Banda. I also see Professor Emmanuel Makasa. Special recognition to Professor Kasonde Voa. A member of parliament for Mansa, and I read the story of how Professor Voa was inspired to be a urologist. I'm not too sure I should say that story here, but he was playing football and something happened. Yeah. And today we have an eminent professor of urology. I recognize all the senior consultants who are here, Dr. Siakantu, Dr. Mukonka, Dr. Shuma, Dr. Chisembele, Dr. Shadrick Lungu, Dr. Martha Lungu. I have a very special relationship with Dr. Martha Lungu. She was my senior registrar, then senior registrar. Then one time when we joined USAID, I was posted to Livingstone, and she was posted to Mansa. She arrived a minute earlier than me in the administration offices. Then she just said, "Maicho yuchaya ku Mansa, let me go to Livingstone." That's how I lost my posting to Livingstone. But I want to thank you for sending me to Mansa, because today I'm MP of Mansa Central. Yes. Dr. Lukwasa, Dr. Kachinga, Sichizia, and let me pay special recognition to one of our consultants who is, with a small f, a first lady in our political circles. Dr. Lorita Kawe, I enjoyed watching your enjoyment to one of our opposition leaders. It's good to see you, Dr. Lorita Kawe. Tonight, I am an emissary of His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the Republican President, to reaffirm his and his government's commitment to universal health coverage. Universal health coverage sits at the apex of our agenda in the health sector. The National Health Strategic Plan 2017 to 2021 recognizes universal health coverage as the broad goal. How do we attain universal health coverage? The Zambian government, under His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is committed to the attainment of universal health coverage. Universal health coverage in the 7th National Development Plan is pitched very high as part of the National Strategic Plan. The 7th National Development Plan itself is a 5-year development roadmap and a feed in our National Vision 2030, where we aspire to be a middle-income prosperous country by the year 2030. We recognize that for us to attain that status, we need to invest in the health of our people. A healthy population will be productive. It will drive the socio-economic development agenda. We are, therefore, the front line of this government to drive its agenda for a healthy population, to ensure that we are productive and we attain our aspirations of our National Vision 2030. We have crafted a framework for strengthening health systems that has pitched service delivery as the core. And to attain service delivery across the continuum of care for all Zambians, human capital development is recognized as supreme. And that's what brings us together today. In a manner similar to pilgrims, we gather to reaffirm our commitment to human capital development, to reaffirm our commitment to universal health coverage, the ideals that hold us together as medical practitioners, to ensure, as we profess in the Hippocratic Oath, that we serve all the citizens diligently, is what brings us together today. So I want to recognize this day as a day of monumental significance, where we perform a simple symbolic act of convocation of Foundation Fellowships on eminent practitioners of medicine, yet a day that history shall record as a turning point in human capital development. This is the day that history shall state that we all convened as captains of the trade to design a human capital development framework that shall certainly propel the universal health coverage agenda that this government has set eyes on. Our service delivery model, our health system strengthening model, recognizes service delivery as the core. And to do this, yes, human capital is important, but we'll also address healthcare financing. We'll address infrastructure and equipment. We'll address the supply chain for medicines. We'll ensure that we invest in health security to shield the public from health hazards. We'll also ensure that we invest in research to adduce the evidence that will inform policy and resource targeting. We'll also invest in strong leadership at district level, where we implement activities, but also at provincial level, where we supervise the districts. And finally, at the apex, at the national level. We'll also ensure that we invest in very, very robust health management information systems to ensure that we have the data with integrity to inform our planning and also our resource targeting. Under global health, we will ensure that we invest in health diplomacy and health security. This is a summary of the health systems model we are pursuing. Today, I find it befitting to update this august house on the progress that we have made as a collective in our path towards universal health coverage. We have set legacy goals in our National Health Strategic Plan, and they scream loud on that billboard. We said we will eliminate malaria, we will attain epidemic control of HIV/AIDS, we will reduce maternal mortality from 398 per 100,000 to less than 100 per 100,000. We will ensure that insurance cover, health insurance cover, increases from 4% to 100%. We will ensure that we build infrastructure to create access to health services. We will build 500 primary healthcare infrastructure, but also to curb treatment abroad, we will also invest in 6 specialist hospitals. We also pitched TB elimination as one of the legacy goals. We have agreed that to drive the universal health coverage agenda, our human capital development must involve recruitment of 30,000 health workers. We also said we need to add to the 200 specialists we have in the country, add 500 new specialists. What brings us together today is one fundamental pillar of our health systems, one legacy goal in our legacy goals, a fundamental pillar of human capital development. Human resource for health is extremely important for us to attain universal health coverage. We've set a target to train health workers. We've set a target to recruit health workers. if we analyze where we were, the numbers of doctors we were producing, both at undergraduate and postgraduate level, would not match our aspiration for universal health coverage. We needed to frown on the statistics that were coming out of our traditional training institutions. It was not uncommon to have 10 postgraduates graduating in a year in all the fields. It was not uncommon to produce 2 specialists in one particular field. We need to frown upon such a moribund pace of production. We can't blame nobody. If we delegate reprocreation of ourselves to another sector, then we should not blame that sector. We should know that survival of a race involves ensuring you take charge of reproduction. The health sector needs to recognize that its aspirations for a healthy society anchors on adequate numbers of human capital. We want to appreciate the University of Zambia for having invested heavily in our training, and we're all products of the University of Zambia. But we should also recognize that the University of Zambia has a broader mandate, and the School of Medicine is just one School of Medicine. This is the reason why, in its transformational agenda, this government set up the Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery, and also set up the first ever public university focusing on training of health workers. I must emphasize, in line with what Registrar said, not to be a foe for the school that trained us, but only to complement. We can never be foes, we can only be allies for one common goal. Today, I would want us to rededicate to the common goal of developing a complement of human capital to drive the Health for All agenda. We are all stakeholders, co-partners in that goal. The Ministry of Health, the government of the Republic of Zambia under Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, does not categorize any private institution, any government institution applying in health worker training as a foe, but as a core player in one broad agenda to strengthen health systems through human capital development. So today should hold us together and address the issue of human resource for health boldly. Today should summon us to the table to see the model that we've developed, critique it, ensure that at the end of the day, we have the finest model. And at the end of the day, what Apex is producing, UNILAS, Cavendish, School of Medicine, Levy, CBU, all contributes to that human resource complement that we desire to drive the universal health coverage agenda. As we are focusing on the Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery, I want us to recognize this as a transformational tool. It is a reflection of us abandoning business as usual. It is a reflection of us saying no to the moribund pace of producing specialists. We don't need to refer patients from Kaputa to UTH just to fix a broken humerus. We need to build capacity in Kaputa. We need to have specialists at district level. The Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery is that transformational tool that responds to that. We need to come together to ensure that there are linkages that are created between the Zambia College of Medicine and the schools of medicines. In our initial concept, we declared that this is a competence-based training. For those colleagues who will attend the fellowship, they may have the privilege of doing research and get an MEd. For those who have MEd, may have the privilege of doing the exam and getting the fellowship. These are frameworks that need refining by you, the gurus of the trade, so that at the end of the day, this has the credibility and the recognition not only of ourselves as Zambia, but also in the region and beyond. We are living in an era of unprecedented political will, where we have a president who speaks health, where we have a head of state who is leading from the front line in ensuring that our targets we've set are met. Today, he's recognized as a global champion for universal health coverage because of his campaign against non-communicable diseases through physical activity and his advocacy for good nutrition, and also his talk on risk factors that cause non-communicable diseases. Today, we have a president who, in recognition of the legacy goal to eliminate malaria, launched the National Malaria Elimination Strategy and has been ensuring adequate financing for integrated vector control. And because of that, today, we will announce that incidence of malaria has reduced drastically. The parasitemia in children in a survey done recently reduced from 19 to 7%. Mortality in a malaria-burdened district, particularly in Milenge and many other parts, reduced by more than 70%. We are firmly on track. Southern Province is on elimination, on the verge of eliminating malaria. We see Lusaka with very reduced cases of laboratory-confirmed malaria. We believe that Zambia shall eliminate malaria because of the unmatched political will and because of the investment we are setting in there. I'm updating the House on the progress we have made in our aspiration for universal health coverage. Today, we can confidently state that Zambia is amongst the few countries that shall attain epidemic control of HIV/AIDS in 2020. If you look at the fast-track UNAIDS targets of 90, 90, 90, today Zambia is at 92, 90, 88. And we will attain epidemic control. If you look at health insurance cover, Zambia has introduced the National Health Insurance Act number 2 of 2018, and today we have introduced mandatory health insurance. This should never be misunderstood or misconstrued to mean an extra tax or burden on the civil servant or on the worker. If you visit the Invest Teaching Hospital today and you look at consultation fees and you look at fees you pay for diagnostic services, a lot of people walk away with bills not less than 1,000 kwacha. If it's in high cost, not less than 5,000 kwacha. But for a 5,000 kwacha salaried employee, that out-of-pocket payment is a barrier. With this new scheme, just paying 1%, which represents 50 kwacha, in a civil servant getting 5,000 kwacha, will assure health services for himself, his wife, and the 10 children they have without any out-of-pocket payment. That's a relief. The pooled fund, the solidarity model, is what has reduced the premium. So this must be supported. The healthcare financing strategy that we've embarked on is not only innovative, but has also introduced a predictable and sustainable way of financing healthcare. I request all colleagues in this august house to support that innovative healthcare financing strategy. Today, we're talking of recruitment of 22,000 health workers out of the targeted 30,000 health workers just in year 3. That's a milestone. And that is, we're talking of training 500 specialists. We already have in enrollment under STP under made a total of more than 400 students. So we're firmly on track in getting that number. As I conclude, let us say this is the day that luminaries met and reaffirmed their commitment to universal health coverage through human capital development. That we all agreed to put together towards one common goal of creating a complement of self-motivated human resources for health, training them in an environment of high quality, and that we have agreed to abandon any challenges we faced in our interface and focus on working together to push President Lungu's agenda for universal health coverage through human capital development. Let us agree to be honorary lecturers under Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. Let us agree to be lecturers under the specialist training program. Let there be a shared legacy of universal health coverage. Let Zambia be that center of training, of excellency, of training that shall be able to provide experts throughout the region. Together, we can attain that. I thank you most sincerely, and I have the pleasure of opening the convocation ceremony officially. Thank you.
Allow me to quickly invite Chair, Fellows and Trainees Committee, Dr. Jonathan Mwansa Kaunda, to move a vote of thanks. A big hand.
Sir, we thank you for coming to this convocation. As a college, we are aware of your government's work in health. Zambia, in the last 5 years, under your leadership and under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, has witnessed a number of unprecedented developments in health. These are inclusive of development in the health sector infrastructure, developments in training, recruitment, control of disease, and procurement and disbursement of drugs, and also the curbing of maternal and child mortalities. Sir, we are aware that your government is alive to the fact that there is international growing recognition of the human health crisis and the realization that without properly trained and motivated staff, it is impossible to implement quality health policies. Additionally, we are also aware that Zambia is a signatory to the Sustainable Development Goals, which, among many indicators, promote universal health coverage. Additionally, Zambia has adopted the principles and undertakings of the Global Health Workforce Network that operates within the WHO as a global mechanism for multi-sectoral collaboration and dialogue on health workforce policies in support of international statutes. Sir, we also are aware about the strategy on human health resource for workforce that your government has embarked on. As a college, we salute you and we salute the support that you have given us. In conclusion, sir, allow me to say that it is our heart desire that the college be established by an act of parliament. We thank you, sir, and we thank your visionary leadership. God bless you, God bless ZACOMS, and God bless Zambia. Thank you very much.
Shortly, we'll have the convocation ceremony, but before that, the air power with a very short and brief song as we prepare for the next ceremony. Let's just give them a big hand. To the Registrar of ZACOMS, Dr. Stali, to take us through the next item on our program, which is the Convocation ceremony. Thank you.
All protocol observed. I kindly request that we, in this session, constitute the Council of the ZACOMS for the purposes of conferring the status of the ZACOMS Foundation Fellowship on these distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I invite the President of the College, Dr. Michael Mbambiko, to please kindly lead the distinguished guests vis-a-vis our guest of honor as we confer these titles. The Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our ceremony, the time that we've been waiting for, is upon us. We are now ready to start with our convocation ceremony. Now, it just makes, I think, a right protocol to ensure that for a college to confer people with the status of Foundation Fellowship, they actually have one who is a president, a fellow himself of that same college. To be rather difficult if we have a president who's not a fellow, confer fellowships on others. For that reason, we'll start by conferring a president, so that once we have a fellow, every one of us can get our fellowships. Now, the president of ZACOMS is a graduate of the University of Zambia, graduated in 1997, did human biology and medicine there. He's a general surgeon, qualified from the fellowship route of training under COSEXA, in 2010. He's a consultant general surgeon and renal transplant surgeon at the University Teaching Hospital. He's an honorary lecturer at the University of Zambia. He's the serving president of the Surgical Society of Zambia. He's a council member of COSEXA and is our current president. To do the honors in conferring the title of Foundation President for our college, I'll invite the ZMA President, Dr. Chisele, to do the honors.
Yes, of honor, ladies and gentlemen. By the power vested in me, as the Zambia Medical Association President, and on behalf of all the professional associations behind ZACOMS, I hereby confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on you, Dr. Michael Bambiko, and that you will carry the title of founding President of Zambia College of Medicine and Surgery. Congratulations.
Thank you. The next individual to receive the Foundation Fellowship status is only right that it's an individual who's seen what a lot of us did not see, who's had the courage to stand by that vision, and has stood by ZACOMS through thick and thin, as it were. The results that we're seeing today are largely as a result of the efforts that we have seen through this one individual. He's a public health specialist with a long service in the public sector in terms of healthcare. He is one and only Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Chitalu Chilufya.
By the powers vested in me, by the powers vested in me as ZACOMS President, Honorable Minister, sir, I confer on you the title of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow.
And we'll start firstly with the professors. So, as we call out the name, please come forward and pick your certificate and then just stand over there. Professor Sekelani Banda, Professor Kasonde Woa, Professor John Jellis, Professor Taxon Lambert, Professor Emmanuel Malabo Makasa, Professor Evans Mpabalwani, Professor Yakub Mula, Professor Peter Mwaba, Professor Sheila Luke Ngoma, Professor Evarist Njelesani, Professor Bwana Fwamba Koshe Odimba, Professor Bellington Vualika, Dr. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
Thank you. By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented.
I think so. The following: Professor Trevor Kaile, Professor Ezingstian Kraiko, are not able to be with us at this ceremony. Mr. President, sir, I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on these mentioned in absentia.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented in absentia.
Our next group of Foundation Fellows are from the Faculty of Anesthesia and Critical Care. These are Dr. Kaunda Luimba, Dr. Hope Piri, Mr. President, sir, I invite you to offer the status of ZACOMS Fellow on these presented tonight.
By the powers invested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
The following are not able to be with us at this function: Dr. Collins Chakana, Dr. Christopher Chanda, Dr. Anthony Malama Chisakuta, Dr. Julian Chomba, Dr. Jane Chanda Kabwe, Dr. Carol Musonda Muloshi, Dr. Jesse Musokota Mumba, Dr. Niza Sheo, Dr. Papizio Shubai, Dr. Masuzio Ziambo. Mr. President, sir, I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on these presented before you, individually and severally, in absentia.
By the powers vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented in absentia.
Dr. Kennedy Jordan Gondwe, Dr. Lorita Kabwe. These are from the Faculty of Cardiology, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, sir, we invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on these our colleagues presented before you.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
Dr. Nadejda Petrova Lukwasa, ENT specialist. We hereby request you, Mr. President, sir, to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on Dr. Lukwasa.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually on this individual presented here in absentia.
Dr. Alik Wanga, Dr. Welani Chilengwe, Dr. Bright Chirengendure, Dr. Mutuna Chiwele, Dr. Benson Kaluba, Dr. Dayson Kumwenda, Dr. Martha Lungu, Dr. Mwila Lupasha, Dr. Daniel Makawa, Dr. Alex Makupe, Dr. Seke Kazuma Ephraim Manasse, Dr. Patrick Musonda, Dr. Kavisa Mwala, Dr. Edward Nimbili, Dr. Jean Baptiste Nzaizenga, Dr. Rajesh Parekh, Dr. Peter Samuel Piri, Dr. Sydney Shampile, Dr. Ejide Shrimpaka, Dr. Gardner Siakantu, Dr. Mudaniso Ziwa. These, Mr. President, sir, are individuals from the Faculty of General Surgery. I invite you, sir, to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
Mr. President, sir, our next individual is from the Faculty of Internal Medicine, Dr. Abidan Chan, sir. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on Dr. Chan, sir.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually on the individual presented here.
I know. The next two individuals are neurosurgeons. Dr. Laston Chikoya, Dr. Agrippa Kachinga Sichizia. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
Our next group are obstetricians and gynecologists. Dr. Nagis Ashurova, Dr. Maureen Chileshe Chisembele, Dr. Augustine Chimana, Dr. Goshon Kasanda, Dr. Eugene Kawe, Dr. Alexander Mbambala Kawimbe, Dr. Shwebi Macha, Dr. Mary Jean Mukeshimana, Dr. Alan Musonda, Dr. Mulindi Mwanahamuntu, Dr. Nixon Mwanza, Dr. Christine Mwelwa Kasebasata, Dr. Riwad Siwulugwe Sivanda, Dr. Victor Sichone, Dr. Gertrude Gundumure Shuma. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
The next group is from the Faculty of Ophthalmology. Dr. David Kasongole, Dr. Phyllis Makalamonga, Dr. Felida Mwachalimba, Dr. Konsiti Mwale, Dr. Zipora Piri. Dr. Grace Mutati, Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me, they are not yet conferred with the fellowship. Why are you clapping? By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here. Now you can clap.
Next, Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the next group to be conferred fellowship status are those from the Faculty of Orthopedics. Dr. Nako Wunda, Dr. Lojizomai Ike Chipasha, Dr. Shadrick Lungu, Dr. Michael Mbelenga, Dr. James Mwenyamlenga, Dr. Raymond Mpangilwa Musoya, Dr. Zvenika Muntanga, Dr. Godfrey Pili, Dr. Joseph Wapaveti, Dr. Colin West, and yours truly, Dr. Jonathan Ikachana Sitali. Mr. President, sir, the distinguished individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
Next, we move to those from pediatrics and child health. Dr. Lalik Banda, Dr. Patricia Mupeta Bobo, Dr. Mulea Namukolo Inambao, Dr. Namushi Jombo, Dr. Monica Kapasa, Dr. Jonathan Mwansakaunda, Dr. Kennedy Lishimpi, Dr. Manoj Moni Matthews, Dr. Mwangelwa Mubiana Mbewe, Dr. Mbinga Mbinga, Dr. Agnes Mtaja, Dr. Mwate Mwambazi, Dr. Wendo Nduna. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
Next, still with the Faculty of Pediatrics, but erroneously omitted earlier when I announced the group with the professors. He's an eminent professor. He's actually a council representative representing the University of Zambia. He's Professor James Chipeta. Mr. President, sir, Professor Chipeta has met the requirements to become a fellow of our college. I invite you, sir, to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on him.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually on the individual presented here.
From pediatrics to pathology. The next individual happens to be the director of our STP training in pathology. He's Dr. Aaron Shivemba. He's the only one here. Mr. President, sir, Dr. Shivemba has met the requirements to become a fellow of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on him.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually on the individual presented here.
The next individual is the next individuals are from the Faculty of Public Health. Dr. Victor Mukonka. Dr. Richard Nsakanya. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
We move to those of oncology dispensation, radiation oncology, Dr. Lewis Banda, Dr. Catherine Mwaba, Dr. Maurice Mwale, Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
We move to radiology. Dr. Angel Malama, Dr. Ntini Siachami Mutinta, Dr. Veronica Sunkutusichizia, Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
The next faculty is that of urology. Dr. Brian Chilando, Dr. Victor Mapulanga. Mr. President, sir, the individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here.
There are a couple of our colleagues who, for one reason or the other, have not made it to this function. I will announce these names in turn. Dr. Charles Mutema, cardiothoracic surgery. Dr. Owen Ngalamika, dermatology and venerology. Dr. Veronica Mulenga, epidemiology. Dr. Philip Muvanga, Dr. Mulambe Mumba, both family medicine. Dr. Brighton Sokolo, internal medicine and gastrointestinal endoscopy. Dr. Roy Chavuma, general surgery. Dr. Jackson Chipaila, general surgery. Dr. Omega Chituo, general surgery. Dr. John Kachimba, general surgery. Dr. Anastasi Nkulingoma, Dr. Victor Kusweji, Dr. David Linyama, Dr. Maimbo Mayava, Dr. Miriam Maimbo, Dr. James Matavile, Dr. Charles Mbewe, Dr. Kad Musas, Dr. Joseph Musoya, Dr. Chomba Chungu Sikasote, Dr. Enoch Wilfred Soko, Dr. Kitanda Sondashi, Dr. Penias Tembo, all from General Surgery. Dr. Fabian Shipango Kabulubulu, Internal National Health, and the following colleagues from Internal Medicine: Dr. Clarence Chiluba, Dr. Sophie Muisa Chimese, Dr. Glenda Kalunga, Dr. Kenneth Kapembwa, Dr. Nason Lamwe, Dr. Aaron Mujajati, Dr. Morgan Diamakwenda Mwene, Dr. Mulea Mwila, Dr. Christopher Mirenda, Dr. Izukanji Tembozi Sikazwe, all from Internal Medicine, as well as Dr. Lisulo Walubita. From the Faculty of Obstetrics and Gynecology, the following are absent: Dr. Yusuf Ahmed, Dr. Kenneth Chanda, Dr. Sebastian Chinkoyo, Dr. Charlene Thomas George, Dr. Isaiah Hansingo, Dr. Priska Nkole Kasonde, Dr. Oscar Kaubi, Dr. Andrew Kumwenda, Dr. Kilian Kozilike, Dr. Mwansa Keti Lubea, Dr. Griselia Mkumba, Dr. Mulaya Mubambe, Dr. Francis Che Mulenga Mubanga, Dr. Catherine Mkandawire, Dr. Philemon Joseph Mumba Mukosa, Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, Dr. Brian Mwila, Dr. Celia Nganjo, Dr. Aubrey Shanzi, Dr. Willis Silimba, and Dr. Mutumbi Ziambo, all from Obstetrics and Gynecology. From the Faculty of Ophthalmology, the following, Mr. President, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, are absent: Dr. Chisanga Chelu, Dr. Mboni Chilese, Dr. Simon Kamwana Chisi, Dr. Misa Funjika, Dr. Davison Kwendakwema, Dr. Sydney Mwala Mlenga, Dr. Ichengelo Kangwa Mlenga Muma, Dr. Willard Walia Mumbi, Dr. Elijah Mutoloki Munachonga, Dr. Lillian Mwawa Chinama Musonda, Dr. Edith Paula, and Dr. Brighton Kamuteku Samoyo. From orthopedics, Dr. Penelope Kantumachona, Dr. James Muntali, Dr. James Nimbili, Dr. Dennis Sakala, Dr. Pamela Tafadzwa Kamuteku Samoyo, Dr. Brian Sonkwe. From Pediatrics and Child Health, Dr. Beatrice Amadi, Dr. Chishala Chavala, Dr. Kudanga Chidumayo, Dr. Kankasa Chipepo, Dr. Laston Chitembo, Dr. Sonny Edwin, Dr. Robert Fubisha, Dr. Mary Walia Katepa, Dr. Morphia Sylvia Machona, Dr. Sam Miti, Dr. Nantalile Mugala, Dr. Evans Mulendele, Dr. John Musuku, Dr. Kunda Mutesu, Dr. Susanna Mwanza, Dr. Musaku Mwenechanya, Dr. Natasha Ngwenya. In pediatric ophthalmology, Dr. Mboni Chileshe. Pediatric surgery, Dr. Bruce Chikasa Vulani, Dr. Amon Ngongola, Dr. Mulenga Mulewa, Dr. Patricia Shinondo. From pathology, Dr. Alon Chomba Chama, Dr. Chivamba Mumba, Dr. Sejo Muowo. From psychiatry, Dr. Ravi Paul, Dr. Petrova Petrolani, Dr. Wakas Ahmed Sheikh, Dr. Chioni Chio Sio, Dr. Anatoly Zakov. And from public health, Dr. Maximilian Welpe, Dr. Nathan Kapata, Dr. Margaret Piri Kasaro, Dr. Mwenya Dani Katongo, Dr. Kango Mavuto Katwizi, Dr. Oliver Malokota, Dr. Serai Vulani Malumo, Dr. Mutinta Mudenda, Dr. Ernest Mutale, Dr. Janet Precious Banda Sikasote, Dr. Daniel Sinkala. From the last one there, in public health, Dr. Rosemary Musonda Sunkutu. From radiation oncology, Dr. Dorothy Chilambe Lombe, Dr. Susan Chitonje Msadabwe, Dr. Mike Chisha. From radiology, Dr. Dilaria Musaeva, from urology, Dr. Mumba Chalwe, Dr. Simon Mukosai, and Dr. Michael Silumbe. Mr. President, sir, all these individuals presented before you, in absentia, have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally in absentia.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here in absentia.
Mr. President, sir, one colleague, an eminent professor at that, was unable to be with us this evening. This is Professor Lupando Munkonge. Mr. President, sir, Professor Munkonge has met the requirements to become a Foundation Fellow of our college. I invite you, sir, to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on Professor Munkonge in absentia.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually on the individual presented here in absentia.
The following individual has also met requirements to become a fellow of our college, having gone to the United Kingdom to go and study talkology, which is the art of speaking in public. I therefore request you to confer him the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow, Dr. Hebert Mutabi.
There's been some omission. I would request the President to come back up. There are some colleagues who are, unfortunately, I missed on the list. And I would request the President to still confer the status of Foundation Fellow on these, our colleagues, who have not been able to make it with us this evening. The first of these is Dr. Simon Miti, a public health specialist. Professor Elwin Chomba, a pediatrician and child health specialist. Dr. Kennedy Malama, a public health specialist. Dr. Jabin Mulwanda, a general surgeon. Professor Trevor Kaile, a physician, internal medicine. Professor Extian Kraiko, general surgery. Dr. Hazel Mumpasha Songwe, anesthesia and critical care. I think the list is now complete. Mr. President, sir, The individuals presented before you have met the requirements to become fellows of our college. I invite you to confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow on them individually and severally in absentia.
By the power vested in me as ZACOMS President, I confer the status of ZACOMS Foundation Fellow individually and severally on these individuals presented here in absentia.
With that, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the close of our ceremony. Please enjoy the rest of the evening.